What is the link between empathy and compassion, and how do we move beyond empathy to compassion?
So empathy, what's empathy? Empathy, we usually say, is standing in the other person's shoes. So think about it a moment. You're pretty close if you're standing in their shoes, right? So to borrow a word from the addiction literature, we're enmeshed. We're too close emotionally. As a result, inadvertently we'll take on the pain, the suffering of the other person. And we do that again and again and again, and that's a major determinant for burnout. So to protect ourselves, but keep our heart open, we practice compassion. So we move beyond empathy. Empathy is wonderful, but it has these pitfalls that we may take on the pain of the other person and then become burnt out. So if we can step back a half a step emotionally, heart still open, but we're not right on top of the other person, we're less emotional, we have more of our cognitive abilities that can kick in to help us figure out ways that will be successful to reduce or eliminate the other person's suffering. So compassion is the wish and the action when we can to reduce or eliminate suffering. So that's a very healthy and very important little step to make with a huge positive consequence, moving beyond empathy to compassion. We teach this extensively to healthcare people, to educators, to teachers, to mothers and fathers and caregivers, whomever is involved with trying to help another person.
Yeah, that's an excellent distinction. I think that empathy can keep us stuck sometimes, can keep us enmeshed, and compassion can move us to actually being able to help others. And how can compassion help heal a lonely world? We're seeing so much loneliness in the world. How can compassion help?
Loneliness has really become another pandemic. And part of it is coming out of this COVID pandemic, where we've been so isolated, there's been so much uncertainty, we've become very lonely. And as we come out of the pandemic, the COVID pandemic, and start to socialize, we're still inside, not relating so much with other people. We're still kind of closed off, we're frightened, we're protecting ourselves. And so compassion breaks down those barriers. Compassion sees that we and other people are not really different on fundamental levels. We all want to be happy, none of us want to hurt. On that level, we're all the same. And so to remember that again and again when we meet people, we have this sense that we actually are sisters, we actually are brothers, so that us and them artificial distinction begins to break down some. And then we feel close, we feel actually the sisterhood and brotherhood, and we feel less lonely. Now, it won't happen overnight, but if we begin to practice this way, it will.
The human condition is resilient. What forms of resilience amidst or after hardship have you witnessed in your work?
So there's a saying in Tibetan and also in Japanese that 9 times falling down or failing and 9 times picking yourself up and moving forward is very beautiful because there's no guilt. It's very practical. It recognizes that we're human, we're going to make mistakes, but they don't blow us out of the water. We pick ourselves up and keep moving forward, free of guilt. So this is something that's helped me a lot. Second, there's a wonderful quote by Rumi, the Persian poet from the 12th or 13th century, which is, it's the trauma that allows the light to come in.
That's beautiful.
It's the trauma that allows the light to come in. So in that way, our suffering, our pain, it's not for naught. There's some benefit that can come from it. Doesn't mean we want people to suffer, but the human condition often is suffering. And the positive sort of side of that is that it will allow, if we're open, healing, joy, flourishing, and actually ecstasy.
And mindfulness and compassion can really be that bridge to that transformation that we so often need when we're suffering or when we have experienced trauma.
Definitely. It allows us, through the mindfulness and the meditation, to sit with the suffering, not to run away all the time.
Which is often what we want to do.
We want to run away, exactly. So training in the mindfulness and the meditation, we begin to be more comfortable with observing our pain. And as we do that, just observing without reacting, without judging, slowly we develop a distance from that pain so we don't identify as much with the pain. Then the pain, even though it still may be there, is easier to handle. And that's the point when we can start working on transforming it, letting the light come in, transforming it to their healthy opposite. For example, anger into tolerance, jealousy into appreciation, and arrogance into humility. And then the light will shine beautifully.
Knowing that it's all fleeting, right? All of these emotions.
Yes.
When we are living through troubling times, what gives you hope for the future? What do you hold on to?
Yeah, I think that compassion is really core for me. Love, unconditional love. And what I find is the more I cultivate love towards individual people, it begins to develop its own life, this unconditional love. And wherever I am, whomever I'm with, not always, but often, that love comes through. And that closeness with the other person comes. And that gives me hope for the future. If I constantly think about, the climate crisis, if I constantly think about the injustice that's happening in this country, other countries around the world, that makes me almost depressed. So I have to counter that. I have to balance that. I still do keep my mind open. I read all the time the news. I want to be informed, but I also am cultivating this compassion. And that helps me keep sane. It helps me keep from drowning.
And it is an everyday process, right? It's not a one and done.
Exactly. It's a lifelong process. And some people would say life's long process, multiple lives.
Thank you so much, Dr. Kerzin, for being here with us today and speaking about compassion and hope.
Thank you very much.